We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. What a crazy night, or night yesterday was. With the rain delays and all of that good stuff. We actually have a good amount to get into for yesterday's game. I'm going to be giving my offensive MVP, defensive MVP. We're going to talk about LaShawn Williams because I did find out about that, figure out what was going on there. Iowa's defense, of course. And I'm going to give my 2 cents on the Big Ten West here moving forward. And it's pretty straightforward, honestly. I mean, other years, it would be not as clear. And I wouldn't say that it's 100% clear right now, but I think it is at the top, at the very least. So we're going to get into all of that post-game reaction and really just recap this out. All right, first things first. Who was the offensive MVP for the Iowa Hawkeyes last night? Well, that was Caleb Johnson. I don't think it's close. He is not going to redshirt. He is not going to redshirt for the Iowa Hawkeyes. That is just not going to happen. He is too talented. And, I mean, folks, in his first game, he cracked 100 yards. Now, the Iowa coaching staff is loyal. They are, always have been, always will be. But the fact of the matter is they are Division I coaches. There's too much money involved. They are as competitive as the next man, and they are going to do whatever it takes to win games. And Caleb Johnson had it going. And it's this, to me, is a perfect example of guys being better game players than they are practice players. Because you're like, Caleb Johnson does this. Wasn't he doing this all along in practice? And the answer is maybe, maybe not. Some guys are better game players than they are practice players. It's just all there is to it. So Caleb Johnson is the MVP. He will not be redshirting this year. He is too talented. He is too ready to go to stay off the field. Let's talk about the Iowa offense overall. Well, the main improvement was the running game. That was the main improvement on the day. Okay, Iowa had 162 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Caleb Johnson cracked the 100-yard mark with 2 massive runs. And quite frankly, every time he touched the ball, he was dangerous. Spencer Petras, on the other hand, did not play bad. It was another average game by Spencer Petras. Average game. And the reality is that Spencer Petras has been so bad. And I caught myself doing this last night. And I had to check myself real quick when I figured that this was going on. Spencer Petras has been average for so freaking long that even when he just completes a few passes, you go, oh, he's balling. He's playing great. He's playing great. But the reality is he's just playing average. That's all. And you have to be honest about the failures and about the successes. And again, it's not as though he played bad yesterday. It was average. It was. He still was just barely above 50% passing. In the first half, he missed 6. I counted 6 passes that were virtually wide open, nobody around. He missed. And 3 of them could have went for touchdowns. That's not good. He missed Nico Reganey in the back of the end zone. And he missed Brody Brecht once. And he missed Jack Johnson. And I don't like having to be totally frank about, especially after a win, but it is what it is, guys. I can't lie to you about Spencer Petrus's performance. It was average. Okay. Now, was it a step in the right direction? Sure. And overall, I thought Brian Ferentz's play calling was okay last night. Again, I think it's important to be honest about him too. You have to be honest about each individual performance. I cannot allow his Iowa State coaching performance to affect how I judge his Iowa versus Nevada performance. So I thought Brian Ferentz called a decent game last night. Spencer Petrus missed on several passes. And I think Iowa is they have to roll with Spencer Petrus at this point. And that is the biggest downfall of deciding to go with Spencer Petrus and being so loyal to him is now, one way or the other, you have to go with him. And I understand all the arguments that people have made. People said that Spencer Petrus has won a lot of games, which he has, but he's also had some of the best Iowa defenses in the Kirk Ferentz era. I mean, Phil Parker has had this Iowa defense ready to go each of the past couple of years. So they're kind of pigeonholed with Spencer Petrus. And I said last week, the only hope for this offense to improve is the run game, which I do think that is possible. I do think it is possible, as we saw last night, that the run game can get it done. And that's really all Iowa needs. Folks, Iowa's defense, which brings me to my next thing. So hold on. Spencer Petrus, my grade for him would be a C, a C game. That's how he did last night. C. Which leads me to my next point, the Iowa defense. Guys, this Iowa defense is so good. They are simply elite. They are so freaking good. It is ridiculous. Can you imagine if some of the teams around the country had Iowa's defense and the offense that they have, it'd be over. Iowa's defense has, let's look at this, guys. They've allowed 0 points, 10 points, and 3 points all game or all year so far. Simply phenomenal. Phenomenal. And I said before the year that this Iowa defense was elite. I mean, they have their every position group on the defense is loaded with depth. My MVP of the defense is Jack Campbell. He played a great game. Lucas Van Ness would be my 1B. He played a great game. Cooper DeJean also had a good game. Those would probably be the top 3 defensive performers for the Iowa Hawkeyes yesterday. And that's why because I've seen a lot of Iowa fans say, oh, we're going to be lucky to win 6 games. And normally I wouldn't disagree with you. But because I always say, because this defense is so damn good, they're going to be in every game, or essentially every game, because it doesn't, at that point, it almost doesn't even matter how bad your offense is. I mean, it does and it doesn't. So Iowa wins 27-20. Let me look at the team stats here. Let's look at the team stats. Iowa had 15 first downs, still not great. Total yards, 337. Not bad. Not bad. I think if Iowa can get 300 yards of total offense minimum each game, you know, they'll be in good shape. 162 rushing yards, 175 passing, 5 penalties, 0 turnovers. Not bad. So I'm going to pull up the Big Ten standings here and give you guys my 2 cents on the Big Ten, or the Big Ten West specifically. The bottom line with the Big Ten West is it is Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Those are the top 3 teams in the Big Ten West. I would say Purdue is probably on the outside looking in. Nebraska is in shambles. Nebraska is in shambles as Scott Frost was fired last week, which I told you guys was going to happen. I said over and over and over again that he was not going to get it worked out. And my answer for that, because people kept giving him excuses like, well, you know, they don't have as many good recruits. It's going to take time for Scott Frost to recruit his players or good football players. It takes time. And I said, folks, Scott Frost came in with more talent than most teams would have. They recruited well from before he got there to the moment he left. They even recruited well when they were terrible. So Oklahoma smashed Nebraska 49-14. Down goes Michigan State. Not surprised. I am not the biggest believer in Mel Tucker. I think last year was a phantom performance. Penn State smashed Auburn. That was a pretty impressive victory. Northwestern loses to Southern Illinois. Not good. Purdue loses to Syracuse. Not good, although it's better than losing to Southern Illinois. Indiana barely beats Western Kentucky. Rutgers beats Temple. Minnesota smashes Colorado. You know, on the surface of it, it looks great. It looks like a great win, but Colorado sucks, guys. Colorado has sucked for a long time. Is there any program who has had a longer and worse fall from grace than the Colorado Buffaloes? Wisconsin smashed New Mexico State. Iowa beat Nevada, and Maryland beat SMU. So, but again, in the Big Ten West, it is Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Those are the top 3 teams. Northwestern is not good. Nebraska is not good. Purdue is probably on the outside looking in. Illinois is not great, but as they already lost to Indiana, but perhaps Indiana is better than we think, or better than I think. Virginia, Illinois has 2 decent wins. Wyoming's never a terrible school, and Virginia is still a Power 5 program. So, I would say if I gave my power rankings, I would say in the Big Ten West, Minnesota 1, Iowa 2, Wisconsin 3, because to me, the best loss that any of the teams have in the Big Ten is Iowa's loss to Iowa State. Wisconsin's loss to Washington State is not a good loss. So I would go Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Purdue, Illinois, Northwestern, Nebraska. All right, let me look at the comments real quick, and then we are going to get out of here. Gonna get up out of here. All right, let's see what we got. Jackie Galvin, good morning. Good morning, Jackie. Thanks for hanging out with me. You guys can always send super chats if you want. Support the channel. That is the best way to support me in the channel is to send, a small contribution to help my coffee habit. I call it super chats. But at the same time, you don't have to. I love hanging out here with you guys here regardless. So it is all good. So Iowa picks up the W, guys, and we will be moving on to Big Ten play. There's still some answers that need to be answered or found rather. I don't, if you think that Spencer Petras is suddenly going to become an above average quarterback, I think you are dreaming. I don't think it'll ever happen. After 3 years, I believe Spencer Petras is the quarterback he is. Now, on the flip side, we saw from last year multiple quarterbacks who were in their final season who had not had good seasons at all any of the previous years they played football. And in their final year, it all came together. Kenny Pickett is the best example of that. Kenny Pickett of Pitt. So it can happen. When it clicks like that. And Kirk Ferentz says that all the time. But will it click for Spencer? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think it will. I think he is who he is at this point. And the main hope for this Iowa team is the run game. If the run game can get it done, the Iowa offense will, at the very least be slightly below average to average. So Iowa moves to 2-1, folks. Crazy game with all the game delays. I hope some of you guys were able to stay up and watch it. And all the fans who stayed behind to watch it, it was great. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. And facts are feelings because your feelings don't matter. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. See y'all later. Love y'all.